Alright, well, it seems like the timer crashed, so I'm just starting right now. You can't stop me. Hey, everybody, welcome to Until the End of Time. My name is Veronica, and thank you so much for watching. This is a random ID slash something that I wanted to do, so, bear with me here. I'm gonna be trying something. Also, sorry if that was really loud. I was just grabbing my water bottle. So one thing that I haven't really had a chance to do yet is talk about deck building in the campaign play along, and I think it's really interesting, and I think this might actually be a fun opportunity for me to touch on some of the more kind of advanced deck building concepts without getting too deep. Plus just, building a deck together. So my plan is that I have one deck laid out here in front of me. We're going to talk about it, we're going to discuss it, we're going to, kind of follow my thought process. And then I have a second deck that I want to build that I haven't built yet, and we're going to be doing that together. So I hope that sounds like a good time. If you have any questions, I am watching the chat. I'll try to watch the chat. I'm also having Discord open. I'm also doing a million other things, so I might miss your message for a second. If so, I'm sorry. But let's get started. So the first thing that where do I start? Well, we start with the investigator, I think. Well, or with a deck concept, but in this case, they're kind of interlinked. So I really wanted to build a Patrice Hathaway Scavenging deck. Scavenging is this classic core set card that, thanks to Edge of the Earth, has gotten really, really strong. And so I wanted to have a go with that. And Scavenging has always been this interesting effect because it's an asset, pretty cheap, 1 cost, 0 XP, has an intellect icon, it's a talent, and then its reaction that after you successfully investigate by 2 or more, you exhaust Scavenging, and you can choose an item asset in your discard pile and add it to your hand. Now, recursion is of course a classic survivor ability, but succeeding by 2 on an investigate is actually something that they usually aren't that great at, and that's always been somewhat of a question mark for this card. It's seen a lot of use in a min, but it's actually kind of been a difficult card for main class survivors to use. Now, for Patrice, she could use Mystic investigation effects, like Clairvoyance, also Sixth Sense, but unfortunately that's not in the card pool. And so I figured we might be able to use Scavenging that way. Plus, we have other versions of Scavenging, which we'll get to. I see a question in the chat from Voltglass. If I'm playing Return or regular Night of the Zealot, I haven't decided yet. My gut instinct says that I will be playing Return to the Gathering for the first scenario, and then I might switch it back to regular for Midnight Masks, but I might also just go Return to all the way down. It is more interesting, I think. It's a lot more difficult as well, though. Depends a little bit on how scenario 1 goes, I suppose. So, when I'm talking about deck building, I assume most of the people here who are going to be watching this video either live now or later have, they understand the basic rules of deck building. You have a deck size, that's how many cards you want, these are the classes you can take, these are the cards that you have to run. So far, so good, right? That is all properly understood, but how do you make a good deck? Especially for someone like Patrice, who doesn't have the easiest deck building rules. And here's where one of the things that I want to talk about is giving your deck a theme and giving your deck a strategy, right? Arkham is a kind of game where you could just build a deck with, 30 or 42 or however many of the best cards in your classes. Take that to a game and probably do reasonably well. But the game really does encourage you to find cards that work together, that have synergy, that are greater than the sum of their parts. And I think that's kind of what I've done here, or have tried to at least, and we'll see if that actually turns out to be true, or if I'm just talking out of my ass and deck is actually terrible. So starting off, the cornerstone is Scavenging, and Scavenging is a much more powerful effect than it seems. It seems like kind of, whatever, you get some items back, but it is drawing you cards, essentially every time you do this, and it's actually drawing you whatever card you want to be drawing. So, it's kind of like a search effect almost, but instead of searching a certain number of cards in your deck, you're searching your discard pile. That's really powerful. So every time we can trigger this, we're getting card advantage, we're getting, a big benefit. And we have this secondary Scavenging, Professor William Webb. Now we have to forego getting clues in order to use Webb, but we can get back more items. So that's still pretty powerful. And this is where the core of this deck is born. We want items that we can reuse preferably the ones that discard themselves, or we can get rid of some way, so that we can benefit off replaying them over and over again. And then, we also need to figure out how we're going to be succeeding by 2 on investigates, and how we're going to make sure we have all these pieces in the right place. Now, the first thing there is getting the pieces in the right place just means playing 2 copies of Scavenging and 2 copies of William Webb, because we don't have any ways of searching our decks to find either of these cards, and we don't have any way of getting them back from our discard pile. Unfortunately, Resourceful is not in the card pool, so that's not an option. Which means that we're just going to have to draw them the old-fashioned way. That's fine. Sometimes that happens, and sometimes that means you don't draw your keep pieces, but I think the deck will probably still function fine, even if we don't have Scavenging turn 1. Next up, now that we have an idea of what we're doing, how are we going to benefit off of that? And why is my cursor jumping when I move here? Okay. Well, for starters, bandages lets us heal damage whenever we want to, and if it has no supplies, we discard it. I'm actually going to change the ordering here real quick, just to make the story flow a bit better. There's something wrong with my mouse right now. Sorry, there's a bit of an issue with my mouse. Catalog is sort of an emergency cache. It's just giving you basically a net of 3 resources, but it also discards itself when it's done, so we can scavenge it, and we can use the money to pay for all the other cards that are items. And because they're staying on the catalog, we can have this kind of reserve of bonus money that we can use whenever we need to, and we can give it to our teammate. Don't underestimate that ability either. Sometimes your teammate gets really, hamstrung on money, and it's really nice to just be able to, don't worry, I can give you 2 resources. That works. Now, for investigation, we also have items that we can use to investigate. Old Keyring does us the benefit of discarding itself when we don't need it anymore, so we can get it back. And Flashlight. They're not, super powerful effects, but when they basically have no restrictions or limits or whatever, we can just keep using them. They're actually pretty nice. And then finally, we have Heavy Furs and Holy Rosary. Now, these are not the most impressive abilities, I think. Actually, the +1 willpower does matter, but it's taking up an accessory slot, so it better. I don't think I'll be using Heavy Furs' ability too often, but it is also 2 damage. And again, with Scavenging, this could soak for us and then come back and heal us. They all have... Oh, sorry. Prof. Byron is asking... They all have 2 copies. I decided to not lay out the duplicate. I guess I did it here, but that's mostly because these are super important. But yeah, these are all duplicates. These are all 2-ofs. Because Patrice gets to run a lot of cards. 42. Now, next we have what I would call just kind of the core cards, or kind of... How do you say? There are certain things in Arkham you just have to bring cards to deal with, right? You have to do damage to enemies, especially in Night of the Zealot, where there's just... Evasion is pretty bad. We have to be able to get clues, and we specifically want to be able to use our willpower instead of our intellect for investigating. Look What I Found can get us more clues. Drawn to the Flame can get us more clues. I decided on a second ally. Charisma is in the card pool, so if I feel like getting both Granny Orne and William Webb, I can do that. But also, I think it's fine to have more than one ally in your deck. They are soak. This one's pretty expensive, but she's also pretty good. We'll get to the Jury Rig in a second. Jury Rig is really spicy in this deck. Prescient, we don't have any ways to manipulate this really, but we're just happy to get maybe a spell back and have a willpower icon. Ward of Protection, because Ward of Protection. Guts and Perception and Unexpected Courage for the icons mostly. This is, I think, kind of a spicy take that I haven't seen a lot of people do, but the symbol tokens, at least in the first scenario, are pretty mild. They're not that bad. Like, Skull is usually going to be a 0 unless there's a Ghoul, and then it's like a -1. Cultist is a -1. I think Tablet might be a -2, but even then it's like not too bad. So I feel like people should be playing Dark Prophecy just as like guaranteed draw -1 on a skill test. And if you're trying to succeed by 2, I think this is actually kind of spicy. It is kind of bad on Shriveling, but it's actually actively good on Clairvoyance, because that one triggers when you draw the good symbols. I love this. So I was looking through the card pool, and this is the kind of thing that happens when you have a very cohesive theme and idea for what you want your deck to do. And I was just looking for, how do I get a Succeed by 2 trigger? And Jury Rig lets you spend durabilities, so you attach it to an item, and then you spend the durabilities to boost your skill value. But there's no limit once per test on that second or on that ability. So what you can do is stick this to a keyring or a flashlight, activate the ability on the flashlight, and then just boost jury rig 3 times if you want to just guarantee pass that test. It is crazy fun, and I figured that was going to be pretty good, especially on Patrice, who loves to have cheap, in this case free, cards that you can play whenever she wants to. Well, it's not fast. If it was fast, it'd be perfect, but, can't have everything. And Voice of Ra for some money, because, you do need money. So yeah, and the final thing, so I've talked about, all these pieces are kind of working together. They have this, at least they have this cohesive point. One of the things I didn't mention yet, if I don't play Flashlight, I can still commit Flashlight for the intellect icon, and the same for the keyring. So my items also have the icons that I want to be throwing into tests. Especially the ones that might be competing for slots, because I have 4 hand slot investigate tools, and I have my violin, which I'm usually going to want to have in play. So there is slot competition there, but it's actually a slot competition that I've solved by making sure that the icons on the items are the ones that I want. Now, talking about upgrading, because that's where, do this in the right order, upgrading I think is where deck building goes to the next level. And it is important not to be too stuck in your way when upgrading. So one of the things that's kind of funny example, yesterday I finally got started on the Edge of the Earth campaign. Love that campaign so far. Done one scenario, like the first part of Ice and Death, and it's amazing. But I drew Through the Gates as my random basic weakness. Well, there go all my plans, because that one, when you draw it, you have to reveal the top card of your deck. And if it's not a weakness, it removes that card and every other copy of that card from the game. Which is super brutal, right? It just messes up all your plans. And so my plan was for this Yorick deck to be an old shotgun deck, and then I was going to run a bunch of events to make the old shotgun work with his ability. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that now. But I could still kind of do the same things that I planned. I just had to change from I'm just using the old shotgun to I have an old shotgun and I have a different weapon and some other cards that I want, and it still fit the general theme of what I want to do the deck, but I had to adjust kind of to fit the amount of XP that I got and my basic weakness, which in Arkham you always have to just respect. Sometimes things don't work out the way you want it. But having an idea of where you want the deck to go is very powerful, because it means you can include cards at level 0 to make sure that you know where you're going. That when you get where you're going, you can use those cards. And so the central card here is Ice Pick. I've talked about this Ice Pick on the Mythosbusters, on Drawn to the Flame, episode 234. I was a guest there. I loved being a guest there. I actually talked about this deck and the campaign play along, so hence me doing it. Ice Pick lets you, in very short terms, it's a fast asset that you can discard to get a deduction or a vicious blow, basically. And that's what this deck wants. It's the payoff for the scavenging thing, because you use this, you get a deduction most of the time, then you scavenge back on the subsequent test, the Ice Pick, you play the Ice Pick again, and now you get another deduction and another one. And that's what this deck wants to do. Now that's actually interesting, because it means that I have even more hand slot competition, so I might have to, when this deck gets further, cut one of these tools. We'll get a bit more into that later. I also want to upgrade Professor William Webb, because his upgraded version lets us get clues and get items back, which just seems way better. So this is going to be a priority. And I had 2 cards also picked out for what I think would make for great kind of upgrade synergy parts. So Crafty lets you pay for insight, tool, or trick cards. And then you can use it during skill test on insight, tool, or trick cards to also boost your skill value. And Old Keyring and Flashlight are both tools, so if I'm keeping those cards in, then I might want to grab Crafty so that I can boost my skill value and get higher results on those investigates. But the question is whether I'm going to, and this is where we don't know yet, or I don't know yet, and we'll have to see how the deck kind of plays in action. Because maybe instead of going with the Crafty route, I grab Divination instead and try to focus on spells to investigate, less will or intellect cards and more willpower cards. And this is something you don't know ahead of time. You're just going to have to play and find out. There is Prophetic, which I believe Patrice can take because it's a survivor card. So there are also the tri-class talents for spells. So as you can see, I have I have a pretty solid idea of what this deck wants to do at level 0, and I have a couple of different paths that I think this deck wants to go around once it gets XP, starting with the Ice Pick and then kind of moving out from there. It's not perfectly defined, and maybe I'll pick up some other cards based on what is necessary, right? What does the deck want? And I think that's a good spot to be in when deck building, right? You aren't locked into anything yet, but you do have an idea of what you want. So, and what I want is Violin. All right. However, this is going to be a two-handed game, and I'm going to be building another deck. And that deck is going to be with the OG, Roland Banks. And we're not playing Parallel Roland either. It's just Roland. So now I kind of want to. So I just showed you kind of the result of what I was talking about with deck building, and now I kind of want to show you how I go through these steps. So starting off, we take a sip of water, and we look just at what do we have. Well, we have a stat line that's pretty focused on combat, not on agility, and we've got middling willpower and intellect. After we defeat an enemy, we get clues. And we have a high health value, but we have a very low sanity value. And 5 sanity combined with a willpower of 3 means that we probably want to make sure we have at least some ways of dealing with that. Otherwise, Roland has Guardian cards and Seeker cards, which matches up nicely with Patrice's Mystic and Survivor cards, so we don't have to worry about overlap. 30 deck size, and some basic signatures. Alright, we can work with this. I should also, by the way, grab the 6, because I'm going to need them. For the sake of simplicity, I'm not grabbing any of the advanced signatures, nothing like that, no, what do you call them? Parallel investigator stuff. Oh, come on. Sorry, I accidentally spawned the tokens while doing this. So, where do I start when building Roland? Well, of course, I'm not building in a vacuum. I've played enough Arkham to know kind of generally what I want. But we have some places to start. And the first thing is we're playing a Guardian, and we probably want them to be kind of a fighter, right? So we want them to have weapons, because having your base damage be only 1 isn't really great. We want to have tools that help us deal more damage. Now, in the card pool, we have a couple of weapons, and I'm trying to remember exactly which ones are in the card pool, so I don't accidentally skip any, but I think we're on all of these. Direct Knife's not in the card pool, but that doesn't matter. Either way, I believe these are our weapons for level 0 Guardian. And I can tell you right now there's no weapons in level 0 Seeker, so we can skip those. I haven't said yet, but I'm deciding not to go with Taboo for this one. I think the card pool's just too limited to really justify playing Taboo. But we have the 45 automatic, which is actually a reasonable choice. Just get some extra damage and extra combat for a couple of attacks. It's expensive, though. We also have the machete, reliable if you're only engaged with one enemy, and, less so if there are multiple enemies showing up. This is a 2-player game, so I'm assuming this will be fine. Boxing gloves doesn't actually give us a combat boost, but gives us more spirit events. We're not going for a Nachos style play, so this is probably not it. Sledgehammer, a powerful weapon, definitely, but held back by the fact that it takes up 2 hand slots and is kind of clumsy. I mean, as a sledgehammer should be, but this is probably not it either. And then finally, survival knife, a weapon that isn't as great when you're fighting, but is absolutely fantastic when the enemy is fighting. I think, however, for this one, we're just going with the classics. OG core sets, 45 automatic, and machete. I want at least 4 weapons, because I want to be able to reliably have a weapon early on in the game. And if I can't find a weapon, I'm going to be in trouble. So let's get 2 of those. And now we get to kind of the other assets, as well as allies. And normally I'm the kind of person who mostly ignores Roland's 3 intellect, because I feel like it's not good enough to be getting a lot of clues. However, I don't think I have that luxury with this card pool. Or rather, I do maybe have the luxury, but I think it's better if I go, no, you know what? I think I can get clues with this 3 intellect. I just have to put in a little effort. So we're definitely grabbing deduction, because even if we don't use it, Patrice can use it. We're grabbing some magnifying glasses, and we might even end up only taking a single magnifying glass. We'll have to see how much deck space we have. But if we don't need our hand for anything else, getting a magnifying glass can make the difference between investigating at 1 over or investigating at 2 over, and that's kind of a big deal. Thinking real quick about what other assets from Seeker want. Right, we want some allies. So, which allies are actually in the card pool? It's Lab Assistant, right? Yeah, Lab Assistant is from the Harvey pack. And I kind of want to run Lab Assistants because they're cheap and they have 2 Sanity Soak, which is excellent for this kind of deck, right? We don't want Roland to go insane. So we'll also be bringing some medical students, just in case. These 2 combined are both only 2 cost. They can soak a little bit. They're easy to get rid of, or they can soak for us and we don't have to worry about keeping them in play. So they're pretty nice to have assets all around. So with these cards we have 10 assets and 2 skills so far, but we're probably going to get a couple more of those. Let's just grab those right now, because we already know that we're bringing the Vicious Blow, because of course we are. And then we're probably also bringing a couple of neutral skills in this deck. I have to decide how many. So Perception seems like a pretty safe bet. We want to be able to investigate with our 3 intellect, and the best way to do that is to just make it a 5 intellect. Overpower also, we're going to have to deal with a couple of nasty ghouls. Seems safe to be bringing that. And with the defensive ones, I'm always a bit skeptical if my slot isn't high enough, because I don't want to end up in a situation where I need this card to draw me a card in order to be good, but my slot isn't high enough to guarantee that. That being said, I think with 3 intellect, with 3 willpower, we can grab guts and feel safe doing that. I think we will usually draw the card off of guts. And so we end up with 10 skills, 10 assets, and 10 slots over. So let's see what else we're bringing. And this is the fun of live deck building, because I genuinely have no idea what I'm doing. Or rather, I haven't decided yet. I think, event-wise, it's tempting to go with Evidence, but my experience with Roland is actually that he doesn't really want it as much, and especially if we're going with a build that you can just discover clues. I'll pick it up because it has double intellect icons, and so I might run it, but I could see this card getting cut. We're not the primary clue getter, and I'm not sure if we need that many clues from locations where we're killing enemies specifically. Is this a stand together deck? Maybe? Possibly? Not sure. I think Patrice appreciates extra money. I'm gonna put it to the side as well maybe. So Voltclaw is saying, even if Guts isn't drawing you a card, it means the difference between taking 1 horror versus taking 3, that is huge. There's a lot of game theory you can to be had about that, and I don't want to say that you're wrong, but I want to be skeptical of the situations where, because the other thing that can happen is you can just autofill the Rotting Remains test, which is of course always an option, and so that's where you can take a lot of horror. Roland is kind of an interesting example because he only has 5 sanity, so in that situation, drawing the Rotting Remains and taking 3 horror versus taking 1 horror is a massive difference, of course. But I think I don't like Unexpected Courage as a card to include in my deck too badly, because I want to have my cards do stuff, and usually on standards I find that just 2 icons is not good enough. So it really depends on the context, right? And I think if I'm putting Guts in, I want it to be drawing me a card. But also, I think that maybe if I reword your message, it's like, even if I'm not drawing a card, maybe it's still doing a lot of work, in which case you're right, and potentially it is a good card. Now, if we are using our intellect, then we want to be using Burning the Midnight Oil, because we just get free money. Well, free money. We have to spend a card for it, but we are getting something out of it. Shortcut is not in the card pool. I always forget that, but it isn't. You know what is in the card pool, though? Working a Hunch. And this is the kind of card that I love in Roland, because it's just like, yep, no, we can just get clues the hard way. Pay for it, or not the hard way, we can pay for it and just get it without having to worry about the Shroud or anything like that. And then finally, you're really cool, but you don't have 2 sanity, so I feel like you'd just be going insane. So now we end up in a stage where we kind of have our core competency of our deck. We can get some clues. We can actually get clues several different ways. Not sure if we can deal with enemies efficiently enough, but I think it'll be fine. We might be looking at some upgrades for more damage later. Actually, is this a Guard Dog deck? The thing is that I've fallen in love with Guard Dog because that card is just it's so much free damage, right? It's so much Tesla damage. The problem is that Guard Dog is much better with Charisma in this deck because we want to be playing our Seeker allies to be soaking horror for us, and Guard Dog is a bad horror soak. But I think I'm going to be running it just for the upgrade, and this is where we, again, we find kind of this idea, where does this deck want to go? Well, we're going to play Midnight Masks after this. Midnight Mask is absolutely dripping with cultists, many of which you only attack for 1 damage, and in that process would be dealing a damage to themselves and killing themselves with the Guard Dog. So this is an upgrade or a card I'm including, not necessarily because it's great now, but because it'll be great later. And it does mean that I'm pricing myself into buying a Charisma. Now, before anybody says it, I could be taking the Charisma right now. Do I want to? Because we have in the deck of it now, which is a card that I have feelings about. Lots and lots of complicated feelings. So, limit 1 per deck, you purchase a deck creation. When you purchase it, you take 2 trauma, and then you can get 3 XP. So we could buy a Charisma right now and not have to worry about any problems. And I am reluctant to buy in the deck of it for everything. I think it's a bit of a, I don't want to say a crutch, but I feel like it's very tempting, but it ends up not actually being that good. However, I think a very pressing point is Roland starts with 9 health. So if he has 2 physical trauma, he then takes a little bit of horror. Medical student will be able to heal the trauma damage for basically free, because we're playing students for the horror heal, but we're going to be getting damage heal on the same time. So I will not be grabbing Patrice in the thick of it, even though she could be using it to get an ice pick or whatever. I don't want to do it. But I will be doing it for Roland, and I'll be spending that 3 XP on a copy of Charisma. Place. There it is. So where's the Charisma? Alright, well that actually went pretty fast. I'm hoping everybody was able to follow along at home. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to be grabbing a random basic weakness, which is great because I still have the stack over here, so I'm just going to pull one out. I hope you can hear me shuffling on the thing. So Voltblast points out that Patrice's bandages can patch up the Guard Dog. They sure can. That's actually pretty strong. I've seen it done in Daniela, which was very fun. I think the problem is kind of there that I'm not too worried about damage. So I feel like you don't want to, like, I wouldn't normally include Guard Dog for if I was just playing the Gathering, because I'm pretty sure we don't need it. And if we do need it, then we're probably taking a hit from the Ghoul Priest for it, which is not great. But it's great in the second scenario, and if we are taking 2 physical trauma, maybe it's not too bad to have a 3 health soak enemy. Okay, and Roland has an internal injury, so that just made that choice a lot more interesting. Yep, this is gonna hurt. So every turn, take a direct damage. Double action declare. Well, this has been going fantastic so far. I'm really enjoying myself, so I think it's time for some Arkham. And by that I mean it's time to actually play some Arkham. No, wait, not that one. This one. Return to the Gathering. Standard difficulty. I don't believe there's a lot to change. I have to pick a lead investigator, I suppose. Right, there are actually different locations. So who do you think should be the lead investigator here? I'm gonna leave it to you, chat. Because I think it does matter a little bit more in this scenario. Scenario 1. Just quickly updating the Discord. Anybody have opinions about who should be lead investigator? Should it be the Thad, Roland? Should it be Patrice? Kind of thinking it should... Yeah, Patrice. Patrice. It should be Patrice, right? Okay. Patrice is our lead investigator. Okay, so... We are looking for some missing people. They've been attacked. It's time to start playing. I know Vault Claws. I know I've played the scenario to death. Kind of want to... I was wondering if there was like a thematic reason to make Roland the lead, but I think that's probably fine. Okay, now mulliganing in a deck like this is really important, especially because we do have short supply. And I didn't actually mention it during the deck build, but when our first turn begins, we're going to lose 10 cards from our deck, or lose. We're going to put them in another zone where we can hopefully get them. This happens after we mulligan, but that means that any card that we don't have in our opening hand, we could potentially lose to the short supply. And if it's the Scavenging, we're hosed. So this initial opening hand is pretty much what we don't want to see. 2 assets that aren't very important, and a bunch of events that don't really impact our early game. So we're going to just redraw 5, and we get a Scavenging. So that, at the very least, is very good. Means that we can get some... Vault Claws was also streaming a couple days ago, and I think some of those runs were pretty interesting. Okay, so we have some stuff here. This is fine. One of the nice things about Patrice is that you never have to worry too much about your opening hands, because you're going to draw a new hand next turn anyway. Magnifying Glass, Evidence, ooh, Signature Pistol, Machete, and Vicious Blow. This is, I think, a pretty classic Roland-style opening hand, where we have some weapons, we have a Magnifying Glass. I think I'm just okay with keeping all of this except for the Evidence, because I think I could draw something better. No, that's actually exactly what I was hoping for. All right. So let's get started. That's not where we start. Why is this? That's okay. That's weird, right? You would expect the study to be in the middle. I would expect the study to be in the middle. Sorry, yeah. Study, Aberrant Gateway. The door to your... So if you haven't played Return to the Gathering before, then the first part of the scenario is different. Instead of being trapped inside of our study, we actually have a way to move around, but we're still kind of stuck in a different part of a house, and we have portals that we have to investigate. We have to spend 6 clues in the guest hall to advance. And there are 3 clues here, and a double action to draw 3 cards. Only the lead investigator can activate his ability. Well, Patrice doesn't want that. And a forced ability: when an enemy attempts to spawn a location that is not in play, put that location into play and spawn the enemy there. Which is kind of why we're keeping the attic and the cellar in play already, because they might show up. So, looking at this opening hand from Patrice, I think I don't really see the need to investigate turn 1. Or do anything really turn 1. I'm just going to get set up. So the first thing I'm going to do is play Voice of Ra. I gain a resource, reveal 3 random Chaos tokens from the Chaos bag. For each symbol, I get an extra 2 resources. So it's just an emergency cache. That's fine. Sorry, before I do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Need to remember not to forget the short supply. Yep. Somebody is now multi-chatting. Pax Cecilia is in the Discord chat saying that the logic on why Roland should take in the thick of it, because you have a 9 in a health stat, you're not really worried about losing to damage very quickly. We have healing, as we already mentioned, so it's probably fine to get a little bit of XP in return for that. Now, going back to the actual game, we did actually manage to hit one of our weaknesses, which is very nice, because they don't trigger anything, they don't even get shuffled back in. So we don't have to worry about the Mob Enforcer until we shuffle our deck. And we actually hit a couple of items that we would be happy to recur, so great. And we didn't hit Scavenging, also very important. So then we play the Swords of Ra, and we will play a Scavenging and a Flashlight. Well, those are our 3 actions. Bring it over to Roland. Oh, no, I want to flip over that one. So Roland is looking at a 3 intellect, which is a bit tricky, but I think we're going to gamble for it. So we're going to play the Magnifying Glass. Doesn't take an action. Or do we action first? We should draw first. Oh, that's not where those goes. Okay, we got a Laboratory Assistant. Hello, get in there. This is why you draw first. Yeah, I'm going to play the Lab Assistant as well. Just because she's a Horror Soak, but also drawing 2 cards here. Oh, that's the classic. Okay, so we get Cover Up right away, which is actually pretty good because it means that we can guarantee... We don't get it at the very end of the scenario when there's no more clues to discover, which is irrelevant with our mental traumas. But I'm not exactly happy to see it here. What I'm going to do is commit this deduction, and over on Patrice, I'm going to commit this Drawn to the Flame because we can't play it anyway, and try to investigate. So 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 3. Only 2 tokens that fill me here. Whew! That was a close one, but we make it. So we would discover 2 clues. I think I'm just going to make sure that we don't lose the cover up. And the nice thing here is that Patrice wants to be investigating with Scavenging anyway, so I don't mind leaving a couple clues here. Juicing opening hands, yep. You can talk to me in the YouTube chat as well, Pax, just FYI. So we go to Upkeep, discard, and draw 5. Draw 1. This is a good start for Patrice, dang. We get either... We can definitely get Scavenging, and we might get an ally, or a Clairvoyance down next turn. I think Clairvoyance is pretty good here. Gonna have to see what the what we do. But Doom on, and Patrice is our lead investigator, so... Oh! Right, these are new. So I'm about to be chilled from below. I would much rather not, so I'm going to commit Guts. I also now realize, having gone through the entire deck building process, that I don't think I actually brought any ways to deal with the Watcher. So I might be kind of screwed there. I succeed, so I'm going to draw a card. It's a Bandages. Oh, nice. And I forgot to shuffle the Gutter deck. It's a Corpse Hunger Ghoul. 4/3/3 with 2 damage, 2 horror, spawns in the bedroom, and it has Hunter. Well, that's not fun at all. All right. Well, time for Roland to start putting his guns down, I guess. 2/2, really? Maxine, why? Why do you do this to us? I'm gonna play a... No, full glass. I guess there's a slight delay on YouTube. Yeah, the card deck wasn't actually shuffled, so it's fine. Patrice, like it's fine. Okay, now I have to think about how I'm going to do this. The Hunter on this makes it a bit of an awkward one, because I can play a weapon and move twice, but then I'm just going to take a hit. But if I don't do that, then I'm going to have to not move into the guest hall. And I know that there's no clues in the guest hall either, so this is just all kinds of annoying. I'm going to draw a card first action to see what happens. Okay, well, I think we're just playing the Machete and taking a resource, so we can play maybe a Lab Assistant later. Or again, Palo Nonsense. Yeah, I think it's fine. It's just kind of annoying. We have a Vicious Blow and we have a Machete. I think it'll probably work out. Now, over on Patrice's side, plenty of clues to get. I'm kind of wondering what I should prioritize right now. I definitely want to get the second Scavenging before it leaves my hand. And I think I can safely discard the old keyring and the bandages, because if I have double Scavenging, I can get them back whenever I want, basically. Well, I need to succeed at the test, but so be it. And so I think my turn is going to be Scavenging, or play Scavenging, play probably just the Clairvoyance. The thing about the Clairvoyance is that it isn't doing anything necessarily that I couldn't do with Flashlight. And unlike Granny Orn, but the problem with Granny Orn is that I have the other ally in my deck that I think I would rather have at this point. So I'm kind of on not playing either of them, maybe, possibly, potentially. Maybe I play the bandages instead, or just investigate twice. Or get like a heavy first or something. A catalog also very good. Fascinating, fascinating. Yeah, so now we have to kind of make those kind of decisions. So I'm going to do what I know I'm doing. I'm going to just play Scavenging, because playing Scavenging. It's a Scavenging deck. We want to be Scavenging. I think that there's nothing Granny Orn does that we need right now. And the Clairvoyance is very nice for clue compression. Let's get it down. Last action, we will investigate with Flashlight, because there's one clue left on the cover-up which I want to clear, and I'm going to commit this old keyring. So I'm testing at 3 versus 1. No, yes, 3 versus 1. No other commits. -2, I pass. I will discard the clue from cover-up. No other effects. Alright, Hunter enemies move, and we got to Upkeep. Yeah, definitely a problem. Doom on. Encounter cards. Grave Eater. 2/2/2. After an attack, you discard a card at random from your hand. Well, you know. Sure. And the classic. Rotting Remains. Alright, do I feel the need to commit to that? I think I do. I'm gonna commit a Holy Rosary. Not like using the little navigation over. I haven't gotten around to using it, no. I really haven't. I might at some point. Lost my train of thought there, sorry. 1 over on the Rotting Remains test. Oh, well, nicely done. -1. Okay, so I think I'm actually now on taking a hit from this thing and using it to pick up a clue here. Because I don't want to leave Patrice with this thing, and, well, yeah, we're just going to have to be a little pained. we're going to suffer a bit. Engage the Grave Eater, attack the Grave Eater with the Machete, committing an Overpower. That's 2 actions. We hit, kill it. Oh, medical students. Well, that's a good timing. We can use that to heal the hit we're about to take. And for our last action, we will play... So we could play Burning the Midnight Oil, but we actually just want to keep this clue here because we're about to get that thing in here. I'll just draw another card. Okay. Over on Patrice's side, we have a bit of an issue. We have a bit of a situation. But let's play Voice of Ra. Gain 1 resource. Well, great. Second action, let's play this Shriveling. And I think I'm gonna go for it. It's a little risky. No, it's too risky, right? Is it too risky? I think it's too risky. I'm gonna gain a resource last action. So I want to do this with this, but I'm currently only 1 below. And I get a +2 from here, but that's it. So it's not good enough. Drawing 4 cards on Patrice. No, William. Sorry, I forgot. Enemy phase, of course. This guy hunts. I'm gonna do 1 horror here, 1 horror here, 1 damage here because I'm gonna med students. And another one of those. All right, we advance. Either lead investigator takes 2 horror, or everybody discards 1 card. That doesn't work on this, right? I can't randomly discard this. I feel like Roland has good cards in his hand right now. I'm just gonna take 2 horror. I'll be fine. Everything's fine. There's nothing to worry about. Good chill. Well, there's actually nothing to worry about there. Like, that's not a problem. I think I'm okay just letting this one happen. Yep, totally fine. Flesh Eater in the attic. Nice, that's a victory point for later. Alright, over to this side of the board. We're gonna machete something, we're gonna vicious blow it, we're gonna probably just try the overpower in as well, because we don't want to miss. We don't miss. Draw a card from the overpower, deal 3 damage. Victory 1 achieved. That was action 1. Action 2, let's... Oh, and we discover Glue, because Roland is great. Action 2, let's play the medical student. So we have charisma, so we can do that, and heal the damage in a horror. And then last action, I'm going to move into the guest hall. How did you end up here? Over on Patrice. I'm going to move. I'm going to shrivel. Committing a prescient and a word of protection and a guts. And with prescient, I am naming even. I'll name even. Well, sometimes you're lucky. So I get to search my discard pile for a spell and return it to my hand. Voice of Ra. And I succeed, so I will kill the Watcher from the other dimension, and I'll draw a card. It's perception, that's exactly what we want. I think... Well, I can't play William right now, so I'll just be playing another Voice of Ra. Gaining 3 resources. Alright, we go to Upkeep. We have 0 Scavenging triggers on Patrice so far, so not the best, but we'll get there. Ooh, hello. Some good cards in this hand. Some good cards in that hand too. Doom on, encounter cards. Chill from below. No, not now, please. Not much you can do about it, I think. I'll commit the Dark Prophecy. Because this is random discard. Oh, well, that works out. So I get to choose 1 card. Elder Sign is shuffle all but 1 card from your discard pile into your deck. The Watcher gets to stay, and everything else can go back in. That does mean we're going to be 0 scavenging after this turn as well, because let's face it, we're not scavenging if we have no cards in our discard pile. No. Okay, no Esther events this turn. Not like we wanted to. Anyway. Alright, Roland, let's go find out what's up in the bathroom. After you reveal a skull, cultist, tablet, or autofill symbol, lose all remaining actions and end your turn. But only 1 shroud, so we can get some investigating done here. I will commit perception and investigate. I'll succeed, get a clue, and draw a card. Judge, I have demonstrated the loop. I would like to draw infinite perception and get infinite clues. Okay, there we go. We do lose our turn, but we still get both clues. Which I believe it's another victory point, isn't it? Oh, no, it isn't. Okay. But we have 4 out of the needed 6 clues now to advance, which is good. Patrice can get the other 2 this turn. Patrice is going to move. If you fail skill test while investigating bedroom, discard a card at random from your hand. Well, in that case, we're going to second action, play her violin. We're going to discard this catalog to gain a resource. And then we will use clairvoyance to investigate. 4 on 2. You know what? No, we're not 4 on 2ing. Oh, hold on. How does this work? No, we are 4 on 2ing. So if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, if I intentionally go 2 versus 2 here and draw -1 or -2, I can, or any other token, honestly. If I fail this test, I can then look what I found. But I do have to trigger the forced effect before I can play look what I found, so I would end up losing. I would have a 50-50 shot of losing the look what I found, right? So last action will be clairvoyance. There we go. That does mean I take a horror. Those are getting up there. I want to get something for that. Okay, so I can trigger Scavenging, but unfortunately, I also immediately discard these because it's upkeep time. So, yeah, I don't want to lose. Look what I found. So, but I guess we do. Alright, 8 cards, so we're fine there. Going to Mythos, Doomon, encounter card. I haven't seen that one yet. And Ghoul from the Depths spawns in the bathroom. 3/4/2 with Retaliate. Fortunately, spawns right on top of Roland. That's convenient. Appreciate a baddie who just doesn't waste any time, just gets right in face. So yeah, I think Roland's plan is to attack this twice and then move into the guest hall so we can advance. So attack once. 5 on 3 is not great. Is this a committed guard dog kind of day? It is. Yeah. So 6 on 3. Chat. Chat, you saw that, right? I said it and everything. Fine. 5 on 3. So is it a 5 on 3 now? I don't know. So the thing that I can do, which is stupid, but I can do it, is instead of second action attack again, because then I'm not advancing this turn, is play the guard dog, take another attack of opportunity, which wipes out the medical student, and then just move, take another attack of opportunity. That's a lot of damage in horror you're picking up, but no, that's wrong. I'm gonna will on it again. Chat, why? Okay, last action. I'll take an attack of opportunity. And play... Wait, I already discarded my guard dog. No, I don't get to play my guard dog. Hold on. I misplayed. I forgot about that. Oh, man. I mean, I don't have a lot of other options, so I'm just going to attack it again. Like... Okay, that's a -1. We got 2 damage in there. School's definitely earning Employee of the Month so far. Is there anything Patrice can do to help out here? Move, shrivel? Yeah, I mean, that works. We're not advancing this turn anyway. Move, shrivel. Okay, shriveling. Commit these 3 and name odd. Should have gone even. That's a hit. Another victory point. Alrighty then. We got upkeep. Patrice, what are you planning? All right. Already 4 doom in. Dang, this is... I think I need to pick up the pace a bit. Also, I just realized I should have filed in for the resource, so I will have done that on Roland's. Rats on Patrice. And Frozen in Fear on Roland. That's fine. I was just going to probably play a thing and then move. Yeah, I'll just do that. 2 actions, lab assistance. Don't forget she also gets +2 hand size, so that's fine. And then double action move. Sorry, I'm gonna just cheat real quick. Patrice goes first. Punch, commit unexpected courage. Nicely done. Move. And then, is there any sense in scavenging here? No, not really, because I can't play anything. This is a problem. I've identified a problem with my deck. I don't actually get a chance to play the stuff that I want to play. Discard a card to get a resource. And I will get another resource, because I can't take draw actions here. Then I will do Roland. Roland will play Lab Assistant for these 2, and then move, because then he has to test Frozen in Fear, and I would like that to be with a commit Guts from Patrice. And let's also try and understand together. We're both rolling in cash, that's not a problem. Nicely done. She draws a card. Enemy phase, takes a damage. Upkeep. When do we advance this? Oh, anytime, okay, good. Actually, do I? No, I'll just do it after upkeep. Alrighty. Doom on. Encounter cards. Crypt Chill. That's fine. That's a-okay. In fact, I'm really happy about that. Name odd. Well, it's been -2 every time so far, so that's impressive. I do have to discard an asset. Goodbye, flashlights. But I get to bring a spell back to hand. It's like the only target, I think. And then Roland gets a Icy Ghoul. Alright, the ghoul gang's all here. Seen all the ghouls now. Well, other than the basic ones, I guess. So I'm gonna advance. Put the set aside hole in the wall, and then somebody moves directly to the hole in the wall. It's gonna be Patrice. That person must test willpower 4 for each point, discard a random card from hand. This is the hallway still, so this gets the attic. Oh, it also gets a parlor. Which we still can't get to, there's a barrier. Commit the Voice of Ra. -1, boss. Alright, so first action I'm just gonna pay for. Discard this. Second action, I'm going to play Web. And there's ghouls on all sides of me, so I'm kind of happy just staying here for a bit. Not dying. I'm just going to get a resource. I'm going to draw a card. And then, okay, last action I will play Heavy Verse. So you reveal a non-autofill token. I can deal damage to get it back. I can also just use it to soak stuff. That seems good. Okay, Roland. Is there either of these ghouls I can one-shot? Maybe. 1 second. This live stream is now made possible by chocolate milk. So, thanks, Mom. So I was in the middle of Roland's turn, and just making sure that I haven't accidentally blown up my entire setup. Okay, looks like we're good. So the problem with Roland is he can move, and attack one of these ghouls. But that doesn't kill either of them. But I'm kind of, I think, at the point where I don't want to spend too many actions. Because I'm like 2 turns away from advancing, or 1 if I Ancient Evils. And in my experience, this scenario doesn't get easier after the second act, or second one. Okay, so the cellar is the new one, with deep below your house. It's probably more clear if I do it like this. And Roland engages the Icy Ghoul. Pick the one that has the higher damage and lower cover value. That made the most sense to me. Even though I don't have a guard dog right now. And I'll be hitting it with this machete with a vicious blow committed. Nicely done. Down to 1 health. Alright. Enemy phase. I think I'm just, yeah, doing it like that. And then upkeep. Always just a little too late, huh? Doom on. Just 1 more to go. Rolling remains. I'm actually getting a little nervous about the amount of horror I'm taking. Committing this. Okay, we're good. And a swarm of rats. So, kind of annoying because it turns off the machete, except that we are probably fine doing it like this. So, swing the machete at the swarm of rats. That's fine. Rats die. Pick up a clue. And am I correct in remembering that Roland is once per round? Yeah, okay. So I will also be playing an evidence. Pick up the other clue. Then let's kill this ghoul. Nice victory point in the pocket. And remind me, I think the new cellar spawns like a whole bunch of rats if you fail an agility test, right? Not necessarily great with the amount of damage we have. Oh, I know. We'll just play the guard dog. And the next turn we'll blunder in there and kill all the rats. Patrice is going to go tangling with a different body. Into the attic we go. We take a horror. Thank you. And we're engaged with the Flesh Eater. That's great. Shriveling or evade with bandages. Shriveling or evade with bandages. Roland's turn is looking juicy with these evidence cards that he's been holding on to. He's going to be a blitz to lost location. Don't worry. Yeah. I'm hoping that kind of we can pick up the tempo at this point and kind of try to finish the job here. Flesh Eater. I'm going to try to just. I'm not going to pass those attacks. I think I'm too low on willpower right now, so I'm going to evade instead. 3 versus 1. Succeed. And then investigate, not using anything special. That's a skull, it's a -1, so I pass. Alright, upkeep. There's Drawn to the Flame and a Ward of Protection in there, that's a good hand. Oh, and an Eternal Injury. Are we clearing this or are we racing? I think we're racing, but maybe we're moving. Or sorry, maybe we're clearing it. So we advance. Discard cards from top of the card deck until a ghoul enemy is discarded. And then, oh no, this is going all wrong. So Patrice is our lead investigator. Patrice just got the Acolyte of Umordath. Praise on the fewest cards in hand. While engaging with investigator with no cards in hand cannot be evaded. That's not great. And then just to check, it's not. It doesn't say to. Oh wait, no, sorry, that isn't correct. First we do this, then we start doing this. So we actually get a Grave Eater. Slightly less bad because it's not a 3 health enemy we have to contend with then. And discarding cards not too bad for Patrice. And then this is the one where it keeps moving all the unengaged ghouls toward the parlor and starts dooming us out, which we don't want. Obscuring Fog. 3 shroud location. Perfectly reasonable. Zealot Seal. Every investigator with 4 or more cards in hand, which is both. Must test willpower 2, and if you fail, discard 2 cards at random. Okay. Do not fail. Do not fail. Seal doesn't do much. Arg, arg. Alright. So now I have to find out how to play out of this situation, because it wasn't looking great to begin with, but it's gotten a bit more complicated, to be clear. Kinda wish I had Roland's gun, to be fair. Because Patrice does have a Shriveling, so she can drop the Grave Eater. And Roland could potentially clear the Flesh Eater with just engaging it at this double horror. And also, like, Roland's turn optimally here is clear this weakness and move down here. But I don't want to have Patrice just get absolutely destroyed by enemies. Do I have enough icons to try another evade? I guess I do. Okay, we're going to do it that way. Patrice, first action. Shriveling. So I'm going to let Patrice go first. In case this goes wrongly, we can call in for backup. Commit the Drawn to the Flame. 3 over. Nicely done. Grave Eater is dead. Second action, evade the Flesh Eater. Commit a Ward of Protection. 2 over. Succeed. Last action. Investigate with Clairvoyance. 1 over. That's not good enough, is it? Investigate with Perception and Flashlights. That's also 1 over, isn't it? No, it's 2 over. That's 2 over. Elder Sign. Nice. The Watcher can stay, everything else goes back in. This succeeds. I will clear Obscuring Fog and get a clue. 1 clue at a time. We'll get there. So you say I could be throwing cards for new cards with more useful icons. This is true, but also I don't know how. I don't think there's a lot of cards in my deck that necessarily help with that, so I'm just gonna use the Violin to get a resource instead. And I'm just kind of hoping that Roland, after dealing with all of this, can deal with this. So, or maybe we just don't have to deal with it. Actually, wait, doesn't it start moving now? Oh yeah. So that's actually great. It's just gonna pull this out of the room. Roland's gonna clear his internal injury, and then move into here. When you enter, or when you reveal, test agility 2 or 3, and then for each point you fill by, we get to find more rats. So I'm going to commit 2 icons, 1 over. I don't mind drawing one of the rats here, but I don't want to draw all of them here. Well, we don't draw any of them here. That's it for my turn. Fingers crossed I draw an enemy in Mythos. Would be nice. So... enemy phase, this moves here, and then upkeep, and then Mythos we put an extra doom on, or sorry, at the end of the round we put a doom on because there's a ghoul in the here, That's not quite how that sentence goes, but I think you all followed. Chill from below, I'll commit and expect courage. Yep. And Crypt Chill, yeah, that's probably fine. Lose a magnifying glass. The classic willpower 3 defense against Crypt Chill is to just have magnifying glass. Alright, so we need to get 1 clue here, the hard way, and then 1 clue the easy way. And annoyingly, we need to kill the Flesh Eater before it escapes. Because unless we engage it, it is going to move towards the parlor. But I think I'm a lot more okay engaging it now. So I'm going to play Burning the Midnight Oil. Commit Evidence and commit this magnifying glass. So that puts me at 2-0. That's not great. 2 over. Well, that's what we have. -0. get this clue. Oh, and I forgot to give myself 2 resources for burning. Spend those 2 resources, work a hunch. 2 move actions, back over here, Flesh Eater engages me. So I'll be taking quite the hit here, but, you know, what you do, what you do. And Patrice, Clairvoyance, commit a curb. That's not, is it necessary? It's not necessary. There we go. Get 2 clues. That doesn't, the symbol token doesn't matter because this is Clairvoyance and not Rite of Seeking. Move down. And I am gonna shrivel it, I think. Right, this is why I should probably kept my Unexpected Courage in hand, because I could have used it here instead of on the track that I was already passing. I'm gonna discard a card to give Roland another card, because he's down to 2 cards in hand right now. Oh, that's useful. In that case, I will be shriveling. And commit a Guts. Oof. Okay. That is 2 damage to Roland. That's not great. 4 fight on this thing. Alright, enemy phase. Horror on Roland. A damage and a horror on the lab assistant. Upkeep. Sorry, this is also gone, and this was also gone, right? And then 2 more. Okay. Well, that's useless. And I believe 2 doom because there is still a ghoul in the hallway. Swarm of rats. I'm choosing not to advance just yet because, well, you know what happens when we advance, and I don't want to have another enemy here. Well, that's apparently we are still getting all the other enemies. How to do what I'm about to do properly. Yeah, so Patrice goes first, punch the Swarm of Rats with Heavy First committed. Okay, I'll take a damage which I put on the Heavy First. Kill. Actually, I just realized I cheated last round. Because I believe that was also the symbol I revealed off of... No, wait. Because the token I revealed for Clairvoyance, but that was when it was here and there were no ghouls there. So that's fine. Second action, engage the Flesh Eater. Last action, evade with Dark Prophecy. Take another damage, but it is evaded. That does mean we're no longer able to... this is going to move out of our reach now, but we're also able to advance next turn, so that's fine. Roland is going to hit the Grave Eater with his machete. Roland's going to hit a Grave Eater with his machete. There we go. And Gunnar Med Student, gun. Then we go to Upkeep. Well, we go to enemy phase first. This moves here. We go to Upkeep. No, sorry. I keep forgetting to discard before I do that. Can I please stop drawing enemies? That's not much better. Sorry. Before I do this, I advance, because we do have to advance at this point. So Roland still has 2 clues, but otherwise we're out of clues. So the parlor is now revealed. Lita's in the parlor, as always, and the Ghoul Priest is engaged with Roland. Then we do all of this, because, yeah, sorry. And we need to kill the Ghoul Priest to advance, which is 10 damage. That's a lot. Yeah, like Volkla was saying, it's coming down to the wire here. And this ghoul not helping things, because Yeah. I think I'm on the old move, parlay, move. Although, wait, but with the problem is with the flash eater there, that becomes so much of a worse strategy. 1 second, I need to cough. Downside of being in quarantine for way too long is that I haven't been talking enough, and then when I do talk for hours on end, my throat gets a little sore. Wonder why that is. Okay, so the problem is that if I don't kill... so I need to kill at least 1 ghoul right now. Actually, I need to kill 2 ghouls, don't I? Because... so I either need to kill 2 ghouls, or I need to kill the ghoul priest this turn. Because otherwise, the doom effect on the agenda 3A is going to cause it to advance. Because there are currently 3 ghouls, and there would be another doom in Mythos. So even if I kill 1 of them, that wouldn't be enough. I have to kill 2 of them. Just to check, it's not just ready, right? No, it's just ghoul enemies. Okay. Now... is there actually any way for me... I think my Patrice deck has insufficient damage. That is clear. The problem is that I think... I actually think that the only line I have here is pretty terrible, but it's the only line I have, so we're gonna follow it. Because Patrice can't help, right? I think that's pretty obvious. That Patrice isn't going to be able to do any damage. So the only way to actually win here is to have Roland deal 10 damage in 1 turn. Which, as it happens, I can do, but I can't fail a single check. And I have to have Lita here, because every one of these bullets is potentially 3 damage if Lita is here, because this is a monster. So that's 9 damage, and then kill him with Guard Dog in enemy phase. This is both the terrifying and great thing about Arkham. It's not up to me anymore. This is the only line that wins the game. The only other option I have is resigning, which I'm not doing. Or at least, I don't think I'm doing. Move. Provoke an attack opportunity. Goodbye, Web. You were completely useless this scenario. F in the chat for Web. Also, when I get attacked, discard a random card. Please don't be an intellect icon. I need those. Why? Why? It's literally the only, like... it's the only double intellect icon in my hand. It's the card I need so badly. Okay. Do I just lose because of that? I did, right? There's no way for me to parlay Lita now without... Can I just... Yeah, I'm going to get a mulligan on that particular randomizer. Okay. Slightly cheating is still cheating, but I also don't mind. So now I'm 1 over. It's still terrible. I'm still going to fail. Oh, well, I get it. Okay. Thank you, Lady. Oh, you're right. I could have violined to get another card, which would have been another intellect icon. So I guess I would have made it that way somehow. Remember that parlaying Lita doesn't provoke attack opportunity. Last action, move back. Take 2 attacks of opportunity. So discard another card. It doesn't really matter at this point. And let's see, damage, horror. Well, that seems fine. Okay, well, Ron has to hit 3 attacks here. And I have literally no boosts other than just 2 over. That's 1. That's 2. Okay, so I'm slightly cheating, but this... I hate when scenarios come down to the wire like this, and it's not... It doesn't feel entirely fair. But, okay. So, hit 3 shots, and now... Yeah, so... in the enemy phase, I get hit for 2 and 2, which triggers the Guard Dog's reaction ability, 10 damage. We don't get every ghoul, because this little boy is still alive, but victory has been achieved. Yeah, Patrice is burning her house down. Screw all these ghouls. Burn it down, R1. Alright. And with that, the house has been burned to the ground. Lita gets added to Patrice's deck. And we get XP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 XP. Not bad. Okay. So 9 XP. We get Lita. I think I want to upgrade. I want to buy 2 ice picks. I think I want to buy 2 ice picks. I'm actually not sure anymore. So this is one of the situations where I think being on stream is a little difficult because I do want to actually, get some time to think about it. The main things that I noticed is triggering Scavenging was basically impossible. So I'm going to have to figure out a new approach to that. And I think a big part of that is just that in Patrice, having scavengeable stuff that isn't fast is pretty bad because you don't have the action, like the action tax on her is pretty high. That being said, ice picks are a solution to that because they're fast. So I could potentially bypass it that way. And I could see upgrading 2 ice picks, 1 Professor William Webb, and 1 Divination. So that we have a couple of clue tag cards and some other stuff going on. I could also see, I don't know the entire card pool off the top of my head right now, but I think if there's any other ways for Patrice to be dealing damage, like a bronze, I could also grab bronze. I might have to just buy one of those just to not die when there's enemies. Like Nightgaun's next scenario are gonna hurt me. For Roland, it's a little easier. His deck, I think, worked reasonably well. I think Bradley pointed out in the chat that the combat tax on Roland has been really high because he's been dealing with all these 3 and 4 fight goals the whole game. Having only 3 or 4 base combat and +1 weapons is kind of rough in that situation because you are really using those overpowers to pass tests and you don't have them at the end of the scenario. So, because like what's left in my deck at this point, a working hunch, another gun, another machete. Those were not necessarily cards that were going to help here. So I think for Roland, the first thing that jumps to mind is the upgraded Beat Cop. Just go kind of an allies build. But there's also probably a better weapon available that I could grab. Or, now that I think about it, I could grab a couple of combat events, like the Fang of... Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that. Or the... what's the other card called? The Get Over Here. And have some reach for dealing with the cultists in Midnight Masks. Regardless, I think that's going to be it for me. Thank you very much for watching. This has been very fun to do, and I hope you enjoyed tuning in. I hope you're all enjoying the campaign play-along. I mean, that is what this is all about. Look forward to some exciting news about that soon. I'm still I'm playing a little bit of catch up in real life with all kinds of stuff going on. But once I've done that, I'm hopefully announcing a couple of events or other things related to this pretty soon. Thank you very much for watching. It's been Adelight, and I'll be seeing you again another time.